Holy smokes, Jim Beam time.
With Knob Creek, a whole flight of it, on this episode of Savor the Burn.
Let's go.
Welcome one and all, ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, to the Savor the Burn podcast. My name is Jonathan, and across the barrels from me is Mr. W2. How do you do?
Doing pretty good. I am excited about tonight. We have some heavy hitters amongst us here, and we got into one of their select barrels a little while ago, and yep, that bottle is nearly gone. My sister is a huge fan of the 12-year. And while we were actually at the distillery this last summer, I got a chance to try it and the 18, and of course the lineage, and of course the little book. And
when he visited the Holy Land, Jim Beam Distilling Company. Yeah. I can't wait to go. I have to go.
So we decided that we've got these three right here, and usually we do not compare. It's not fair to compare. Mm-hmm. But this makes sense to compare because there essentially should be all the same mash bill. We've just got different age statements on them.
Yeah.
And down on the end, the Knob Creek Select is their store pick single barrel program. So that kind of sets it apart. But other than that, it should be all the same thing. So let's compare the age statement. Let's compare the single barrel along with the Select program is 120 proof versus 100 proof.
There's going to be quite a bit of difference in proof.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that lends to a more pop in the flavor selection.
Yeah.
Maybe not so, maybe not a wider selection of flavors, but like the flavors that are there are more, developed.
Yeah.
More strongificated.
Well, I tell you what, let's divide and conquer. We've got some pull tabs to get into. We're going to pour these all up so they can breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
And, that's not good.
There's a smart way and a wrong way to do this.
And apparently, I did it the wrong way.
Well, when it's wax dipped, results vary. We ran into that problem with the Bookers.
Yep. Hey, there's the pull tab.
There it is.
It kind of missed the mark on there, though. Actually, wasn't even on the little tab.
Nice.
But
all right, that's the 18. Let's do the bottle pop. Nice.
All right.
Here's the 12.
Composite.
Oh, is it?
It is composite. Yep. Ooh.
All right.
That was a nice.
That was a little bit different. Once again, composite. Mm-hmm. And the single barrel select. This one came from PriceChopper. Yep. Relatively the same. All the same. It's all the same.
Hand me the pile of waxes.
Only the years will change.
Just make sure the back of your bottle matches your color.
Per play. There. Then I'll get this one. They only pop like that the first time.
And we're just going to set these bad boys over here for a minute because, well, it's going to be a minute before we get to 18.
Yeah, we're doing the select first.
And those...
Set these.
That's purple?
Yep, purple.
Excellent.
Set those here. Set these over here.
And we went ahead and poured up just a little pinch of the other select barrel that we got from Gomer's. Gomer's down on 103rd Street. So if you're here in Kansas City, I highly recommend that Gomer's. Everyone in there is super cool. They've got one hell of a selection. And I really like their store because any given time you go in there are 3 to 6 store pick single barrels that they've done. They've got Knob Creek. They've got Penelope. They've got. I mean, they just have so many barrel picks, and like I said, super cool people. They got a great allocation room. Their prices are reasonable, and it's very convenient.
I've never heard a bad story about that store. Like, everybody that goes in there likes it. They have a great time. They have decent prices.
The thing that's interesting about their Select Barrel program is I believe they start at 9-year and can kind of go up from there. So like the Gomer's one, I believe, is a 9-year. If you want to look at the label, I believe it's 9 years something. The new one that we just popped open, it's 10 years 1 month.
Yeah, it is.
So this one is 2014 to 2023. So this is 9-year 4 month, January to May. So yeah,
not too much different.
Not a whole lot different, but you know.
Never know. If they pull it out the way Michter's does theirs, then it's ready. It's ready when it's ready. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know, they don't always just run by a calendar.
Their Select Barrel program is always bottled at 120 proof, versus their standard offerings are 100 proof. So that kind of sets it apart a little bit. You're getting a store pick, you're getting a single barrel, you're getting a little bit more proof out of it also. So there's definitely, I think that's definitely adds to the benefits of doing a barrel pick of Knob Creek.
And there's different areas of the rick house, right? There's different areas of the rick house where they age these things. So one bottle, like we'll just go with the Gomer's here, Warehouse P, floor 5.
So that's pretty high up there.
Rack, sorry, 16. This is Warehouse L, floor 2, rack 4.
Well, and maybe that plays into the reason why they aged it a little bit longer, is because it was sitting down in the belly of the rick house and needed a little bit more time in the barrel.
I mean, they may have been in different warehouses, different areas of their own warehouses, but I mean, they both smell.
They're very. I mean, you can tell this is the same thing.
I mean, it's kind of peanut brittly. It's got
caramel and molasses, vanilla.
Or molasses. Both are very super similar, like you said in the beginning. It is the same mash bill.
Well, I'm gonna start with just a little smidge of this Gomer's,
the one we did before. Lots of proof on the palate.
Yeah, but that's delightful. I mean, there's baking spices. You got cinnamon, nutmeg.
Yeah.
Maybe even some clove, brown sugar.
Yeah, the molasses gives way to brown sugar.
And the PriceChopper, 10-year 1 month. Here, sir.
That's wild. How different they can be. For being the same dang whiskey.
But again,
it's just so different. I think this has a lot more clove in it.
Yeah, I would say clove. I would also say it's more molassesy than a brown sugar. More maybe butterscotchy than caramel.
Butterscotch is in there.
A lot more oak and char, I think, on this one. And that's probably that extra, what would that be, 8 months?
Yeah, right.
7 months?
There's just a 7 to 8 month difference between the two. As far as age goes. Location, I'm sure it's just like real estate. It's location, location, location.
100%.
What did we, so on our official review of this Knob Creek Barrel Select, we gave it a rating on the bottle presentation. Do you remember what that was?
It was 4 1/4.
4 1/4.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I mean,
I mean, it has that hand-blown glass quality.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it is, because
it's got a texture to the glass.
It has a seam on the side of it. So I think that's indicative of it being produced in a mold. But I just really like the ornate wobbliness to the
That's a good
glass.
way to put it. And you got lots of great info on this wraparound thing.
It's got the Knob Creek small batch.
Small batch, the little tag gun.
Which is interesting that they just go ahead and just use the same bottle across the board.
Yeah.
Because that is a single barrel select offering, but yet the bottle still says small batch. It's not small batch. It is single barrel. But the bottle still says, I assume they both do. Yeah, they both still have, which is just their standard bottle. I mean, even the 12 and the 18 both are Knob Creek small batch embossed on there. So
just makes you think that everything they do is a small batch.
Yep.
Well, didn't Booker Noe coin that term?
He did.
I thought we mentioned that a while back.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, there was a lot of great things to notice here.
I really didn't pull any notes for the single barrel select because it's a store pick. You know, once we get into the 12 and the 18, I've got a little bit more actual distillery level information pertaining to it. But the notes that I have on here do say on appearance dark amber, which I would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The nose says expansive notes of vanilla and caramel, slightly smoky, slightly oaky. I think it's more than slightly oaky.
Yeah, you picked up on the oakiness for sure.
The palate says bold and complex vanilla, nuts, and oak.
Nuts. Okay.
Well, peanut brittles. So.
Yeah. Well, I picked up that on the nose.
Okay.
I'm not sure it carried through. Did it carry through for you?
A little bit.
On the palate?
A little bit. And the finish says lingering, warm, full flavor. I mean, 120 proof. It
really
it actually lingers a little more than
that Kentucky hug.
A little.
It sticks with you a little bit.
It's really nice though.
Did it say it was nutty on the finish? Because that's where I'm at.
It does not.
It's nutty.
Nope.
It's and spicy, pepper spice, but that might be the proof. And then lingering and warm, nutty pepper spice, and the sweet. It reminds me of maple, but it's not maple. Maple has like a very natural, sugary.
That's why to me it's more
it.
Molasses than a maple.
Okay.
Yeah. Shall we go ahead and slide on over into 12, and then we'll kind of come back to numbers at some point?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's do that.
Sure.
Get these guys back over here like so.
That's definitely a lot softer. And
This
that's
is
not a
the
bad
12.
thing. This is the 12.
Knob Creek 12, which, according to socials, anywhere that I posted the bottles that we're doing the tastings tonight, if you're not part of a local or a national whatever whiskey group on any social medias like Facebook, for instance, where we are. I mean, we've got Whiskey Guild, Kansas City Bourbon and Whiskey Club, and Whiskey Tribe. If you're a fan of Whiskey Tribe, they have their own Facebook group, and it's very active. Lots of cool people, lots of cool information. But anywhere that I posted the pictures of these bottles, people piped up. They tuned in. They had an opinion, and they said this was their favorite of the three. The people that had tried these.
So some of the information that I pulled on the 12-year,
not as bitey.
Yeah,
on the nose.
I mean, 100 proof, so it is a little less. So it doesn't surprise me that it doesn't pinch like the other does, but. It says here, Knob Creek signature bourbon with a loud and proud age statement of 12 years. The Knob Creek brand was first launched in 1992, and since then, they have changed it very little, remaining dedicated to reproducing a pre-prohibition style bourbon experience with a higher ABV that makes it a bourbon of choice for discriminating cocktail aficionados everywhere while winning awards and turning heads. Knob Creek's signature bourbon is famously aged to taste, and a marvelous taste it is. But this dram is something different. Knob Creek 12-year-old bourbon has a bold age statement right there on the label. 12 years in the oak. And there you have it, folks. Like I said right off the bat, this is a lot softer on the nose.
Yeah, so like what we were talking about possibly happening is the single barrel is going to have much sharper, much stronger.
Yep, it's a single barrel, so it's not sharing and blending with other barrels in the batch process. This is small batch.
Yeah.
And with it being dialed down a little bit more, those
dialed down to 100.
Right,
but still.
But there's still some sharp edges to round off in there.
But when it comes to the nose, when you nose this glass, you've seen me do it, 25 times now. I got my nose down in here and I'm taking a deep sniff and it's not pinching my nose. You know, like there's some 80 proofs that will pinch you right in the nose, and it's like, did I just get a bull ring?
Marshmallow.
Was there a gall darn crawdad in there?
Mm-hmm. Marshmallow, cinnamon, vanilla.
I got vanilla. I got, to me, it was nutty, vanilla. There's
dark
baking
chocolate.
Spices, but you think dark chocolate.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even a milk chocolate. Because those are very different.
Definitely.
Shall we try this on the palate?
Yeah. Draw my crooked line here. Knob Creek 12. Butterscotch.
Get out of here.
There's some oak.
That's so smooth. That drinks, like you were saying, there's some 85 proofs that don't drink that smooth.
Yeah,
That's nice.
That was surprisingly smooth.
That's like velvety, soft. That's really, really good.
Yeah, butterscotch.
Holy smokes.
Nuttiness. The baking spices kind of take a back seat for me, but the corn sweetness shows up.
So
I'm still not sure I'm picking up on the dark chocolate.
So the notes I have here say the aromas of Cracker Jacks, cinnamon and clove,
Because of the caramel.
and vanilla, heavy toffee, and charred undertones, matured tobacco, toasted coconut, maybe a little coconut on the finish, and dark chocolate.
Okay, you said dark chocolate.
Palate says the flavor profile is powerful and deep, but very smooth with baking spices, whipped butter, red velvet cake, cinnamon, warm cream, and a warm spice. Bold and spicy overtones, leathered fruits, vanilla, and caramelized wood.
Yeah, caramelized wood.
Finish says the finish is long and exciting with notes of caramel sauce and warm baking spices. Warm smoky char notes remain with lingering heat.
Yeah, I'm not going to write down smoky char, but I do agree.
That's nice.
I do agree
That's
with the
really
char.
nice. I'm going to go ahead and pass you off.
Yeah.
18 on over.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
18 out front.
Right there in the middle.
That is if you're ready to move on to that
I'm
one.
going to jot down some numbers real quick before I...
Well, I'm going to do some reading. How about that?
Yeah. You do some reading. I'll just...
So, still, same mash bill, same everything. This one is 18 year. And we don't have the benefit of Rick House floor and all that.
No, we don't.
On this, but that's okay. Unless it's on somewhere else on the label, but nope. That's all right. Knob Creek 18-year-old bourbon, the whiskey worth waiting for. Hailing from Kentucky's heart, Knob Creek is the whiskey world's game changer. Under 7th gen distillers, they've been crafting bold whiskeys that have booted milder options off the block. They age their bourbon not out of obligation, but because patience brews perfection. This ethos sparked a small batch whiskey revolution, capturing Knob Creek to industry titan status. Their 18-year-old bourbon, it's worth the wait personified, a limited edition nod to their craft commitment. It's matured twice as long as their usual bourbon. The result, a rich copper whiskey with profound caramelized oak notes with a punchy alcohol level and flavor. It's proof that patience pays off in taste. So kick back and savor the taste of time well spent with Knob Creek's 18-year-old bourbon whiskey. And yes, I said savor.
Savor, yeah. So go back before you get that.
Okay.
Go back to your single barrel.
Uh-huh.
And the new one, the fresh crack.
Yep.
Are you picking up cereal notes off of this yet?
Oh yeah.
Because I did.
Yeah, 100%.
I thought that was really cool. So yeah, back to the.
Again,
I don't have any notes on my, or any numbers on my.
Again, our 18 is very soft.
That was
compared to our half the year, almost half year, half the age.
Yeah,
Select.
yeah. What did we say? 7-8 months. Oh wow! That's the 18.
That's the 18. I like that. It actually reminds me a little bit of the creaminess, of a Weller. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Weller 12, but yeah, even the 107.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Weller is very distinct with their nose, with their taste.
And with the Weller line, that is the original weeded bourbon.
Yeah, they're all weeded, aren't they?
They are. All the Wellers are a weeded bourbon. And so because of that, you end up with a much softer, creamier experience on nose and palate because you don't have the bite of rye in that mash bill. I don't know what the mash bill is on this. I think this might be 4 grain. I think there might be some wheat on it. There's definitely rye on here. But I'm getting, and I'm only saying that because I'm directly correlating some of the same characteristics that I get off of Weller.
So far, I just had peanut brittle. It's a caramel sweet, almost like caramel sauce, caramel, like the drizzly caramel stuff, and baking spices. But baking spices meaning like nutmeg and cinnamon.
Well, the notes I have here say rich copper tones with auburn hues.
It's like vanilla custard.
The nose says brown sugar with notes of char and caramel, hints of sweet vanilla and baking spices.
Okay, well, see, we're starting to learn. Starting to learn here. I'm not picking up on the char.
I'll wait till we get it on the palate and I'll read more.
Yeah.
18 years. I'm still not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that at all. It says 100 proof. Ooh. It says
I think it bites a little bit more than the 12 years.
There's something on the back end that hits like barley.
Yeah.
There's a grassy note on the back. So I didn't expect there to be barley in
There's a lot more oak on the palate and finish.
Yeah.
I'm getting more of that chocolate on the palate on this. And definitely more toffee to me than caramel.
Yeah, on the nose it was total caramel. But yeah, on the palate it's toffee. And then when it hits the finish, the sweetness gives way to bitter. So it's like bittersweet.
Mm-hmm. The notes I have say, on the palate, full-bodied with notes of caramelized oak and hints of sweet vanilla, toffee, and baking spices. Brown sugar and aged oak char.
Do you think it's the vanilla is custardy?
Not as much as the 12.
Like a pudding?
Not as much as the 12.
Not as much?
Yeah.
So you just leave it at vanilla?
I just leave it at vanilla.
Yeah, what else did they have on there?
The finish says long, warm finish with spice and slight floral and fruit notes.
Floral?
I can see
fruit
that.
Fruit notes?
Yeah, I can see that. Maybe some fig and maybe some apricot, maybe late in the palate onto the finish.
Late palate. It is kind of long and warm. I guess I didn't really notice how long that finish was.
I got lots of numbers here. I guess I need to do some
What else here
math.
on the with the 18 on the palate?
The palate says full body with notes of caramelized oak and hints of sweet vanilla, toffee, and baking spices. Brown sugar and aged oak char. There's definitely a lot of char on this.
Yeah.
But it's 18 years, so it spent a long time in that barrel. So it's going to have a lot of residual char on there. And I'm really kind of curious. It's actually really, really clear.
Very, very.
There's definitely no sediment.
That's yeah, right. Normally indicative of chill filtration. I don't know if Beam Suntory does that kind of thing or not. I would guess they do. I wish they wouldn't. You know, on this 18, for me, it seems like the finish was like the best part.
I don't disagree with that.
And I mean, there's absolutely nothing against that.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's ever happened for me. Oh man, this just the longer this is in the single barrel, like the longer it's in here. I mean, it's like breakfast. It's like
the store pick.
Maple brown sugar. Yeah, maple brown sugar oatmeal.
That's nice. That's really nice. I think it rivals the 18.
The single?
At literally better than a third the cost.
Yeah, you're right. That one, the 18 had a price point You found it for $145. Normally, you see it for around $199, but you've seen it up to $220.
Well, I've seen it higher than that, but I've actually seen it locally for $220. I've seen it for $208. I've seen it for $215. I've seen it for $220. Online, I've seen it pushing $300. Actually, Flavier has the 18 currently right now.
$300.
Currently right now, Flavier has the 18 for $302. That's a lot of nope.
No. Nope. I'll take a lesson from Dr. No on that one. No.
So when we were at the distillery this summer, we went up to the upstairs bar, which they had a bazillion more bottles of everything up there also. But they have the full bar up there, and there was no one up there, so it was nice to kind of go up and just hang out and get pours of whatever we wanted. And we side-by-sided the 12, 18, and the Jim Beam 15-year lineage.
Okay.
And so good. That lineage is, I think, still smokes this 18. That lineage barely missed our top 5 of the year.
Just barely. And when we did that top 5, if you want to go back on YouTube and check out the
New Year's Eve.
The New Year's Eve episode, we did our top 5 of 2024 reviews, and we had a little pour from each one of them.
Yep.
And
we just talked about them. We had already rated them.
Yeah.
That's why we were there. That's why we landed on those 5.
Yeah.
So we just poured them up and just talked about them. All 5 of those were less than a half point spread.
Yeah, and there were unique expressions, each and every one of them. Even though 3 of them were Bookers. One was
no.
Book of the Infinite.
No.
Book of Past.
Well, that's Little Book. That's not
Little
Bookers.
Book. Little Book.
Correcting you here, because Bookers and Little Book.
Please do.
Same family.
Yeah, but it's
different generation.
It's a different generation. Yeah, and the Infinite is all 3 generations.
It's all 3.
Which, who knows? Maybe further on down the line, after we're dust and bones, it'll be 6 or 7 generations. I mean, how cool would that be? All coming out of the same infinity barrel. Not bottle. Anyway, so if you want to know what
and we got number 1.
We did. We got 1. That's the perks of being alive in this time.
I guess we have to get number 2 now.
Yeah. I mean, had we been born a lot sooner, we wouldn't know anything about any of this. We wouldn't have a podcast. We wouldn't have antibacterial soap, air conditioning, modern medicine. Anyway, so if you want to know anything more about our top 5 as far as 2025 goes, I think 2024 is going to be tough to beat. We'll see. Maybe something that we've reviewed thus far in 2025 has entered that list, but I have my doubts. Yep. But anyway, go to savortheburn.com and check it out for yourself and let us know what you think.
Let's get going on these numbers.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's start with the Single Barrel Select. This was our 120 proof, 10-year, 1-month offering. What did you give it on the nose?
On the nose, I gave it a 4 even.
All right. I'm not that far off of you. I gave it 4 1/4.
Okay. Excuse me. When it came to
it's a super nice note. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's super nice note. Super nice nose. But that 120 proof bites. Yeah,
we got 8 different scents on the nose, and what better way to do it than these Glencairn glasses? But they were great. Peanut brittle, vanilla, caramel, baking spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, molasses, and cereal grains showed up. But that happens. You gave it a 4.25. How about the palate?
I went ahead and gave it a 4 even.
A 4 even.
So I dropped it a little bit. But yeah, still a great palate.
Mine went up to a 4.25.
Okay. We flip-flopped there then.
We did, yeah. I see that on our notes here. Very cool. How about the finish?
I brought it back up to 4 1/4.
Okay, well that's exact. Whoops, that's not how you spell 25. I gave it the same score. Same score for me. Yep. Bottle presentation. I kept my bottle presentation score at 4.25, just what we gave
we had before
on this bad boy. So did you?
Same here.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. So what was your final score?
8 3/8.
Holy shit.
8.375.
Whoops. Yeah. So we gave it the same damn score. Different math getting there, but we got there.
That's a great score.
That's pretty cool.
Moving on to the 12-year, the blue label.
Mm-hmm.
What did you give this on the nose?
On the nose, I gave it a 4.5.
Same.
I'll be damned. How about the palate?
I went ahead and bumped it on up to 4 3/4.
Girl, same. How about the finish?
I came on back down to 4 1/4.
Okay. Well, I dropped it to 4.5.
Okay.
Bottle presentation.
4 1/4.
4 1/4.
Yep.
4 1/4. That's the same thing here. And that brought my final score to 9 even.
All right. Mine was 8 7/8.
8 7/8.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's the exact same label, different color. It still has the secondary label down here. Mm-hmm. It just is not store pick with who picked it and all the things. But yeah,
and it turned out to be. I mean, we'll talk about this later, but I mean, even though it's unfair to compare, if you do compare the two of these, a store pick, a single barrel, it's less. It's just less abrasive. There's a lot. Yep. I mean, it drinks like dessert compared to this thing. Yeah. But
now I'm fully expecting the single barrel Select to make some excellent cocktails.
Absolutely. Yeah. It has no choice.
It's got all the proof.
It's got a lot of different flavors going on in there.
Yep. Moving on to the 18. Mm-hmm. This reddish brown. No, that's definitely not a red. That's like definitely brown.
Like a hella dark chocolate brown.
That's a dark chocolate brown.
Hella.
But
technical term.
Notice, look, in the right light, it's got wood grain.
It does. Do they all?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That's a no on the blue label.
It's definitely a no on those. That's
definitely a no on that one too. Yeah.
Charcoal.
Yeah.
Black. So that's kind of a cool touch. That I don't know if that warrants anything new, but what'd you give it on the nose?
Yeah. On the nose, I gave it a 4.25.
I also gave it a 4.25.
There was so much going on here. This one here had an explosion of I say explosion, but it had a pop of peanut brittle for me. The caramel sweetness showed up, baking spices, vanilla custard, and then when it hit the palate, which we'll get the numbers for real quick, oak char, chocolate, toffee, vanilla, baking spices. It just kind of it took the ball and kind of ran with it as far as the palate goes from the nose. So I gave it a little higher score at 4.25 or 4.5.
4.5?
Yeah, 4.5.
Oh, well, so did I.
Excellent. Same reasons?
Same reasons, yep.
How about the finish?
I once again dropped it back down to 4 1/4.
Okay. The finish was, for me, on this one, it was more interesting. I think of all of them, there was a little bit of a grassy note, which denotes barley. To me, anywho. There was oak. It was kind of a bittersweet, kind of dark chocolate kind of taste on the very tail end of the finish. We had the spices. You picked up fig and apricot, however you want to pronounce that. Appalachian. I don't know.
I know some people might have an opinion on that one.
Oh yeah, anybody from that area, it's Appalachian
Basin.
Yeah,
Tennessee.
And you know what? I would have to agree with people
in the comments that
live there. I'm going to take your word for it, because if I'm not from there, I don't know how to pronounce your mountains and your lakes and your rivers and your streams.
Appalachian.
And so,
Appalachian.
Yeah, Appalachian.
Appalachian.
The mountains of Appalachia.
Appalachia.
So, hey, Appalachia. Yeah. So that brings us to bottle presentation. And even though that one's got a little bit, something cool with the wood grain, it doesn't have the fancy label at the bottom.
Yep.
But everything else stays the same.
But it does.
It does. Well, these are.
I mean,
it doesn't, like this one here tells you the
sure.
Rick House, this, that, and the other thing, as it should.
But it is the same type of label, I guess is what I meant by that. But
that's kind of what I meant too. Not here to argue.
I kept it at 4 1/4.
4 1/4. Cool. So what was your final score?
8 5/8.
I was gonna say 5.
Just kidding. 8 5/8.
Yeah, mine was 8 3/4.
All right.
So this
Right
was,
there.
let's see, 8 3/4. Knob Creek 12, 9, and 8 1/8. And so for you, 18 is 8 5/8. 12 is 8 7/8. And the what do they call that here? Single barrel 8 3/8.
Yep.
So if we do compare, we do have a winner, and it's a 12-year.
It's 12-year.
That was indicative of everything that the comments section said.
Not just most, every single
Every single one.
comment
Anybody
was-
that had the 18, anybody that had a single barrel, and the 12, like they all agreed the same.
There was one comment that was like, unless you really love the extra proof, 12 is going to be the winner.
Yeah. And I don't really care about the extra proof. I care about the extra
Flavors.
Yeah.
Experience. Yeah.
But we know
Savoring it.
everything that's in the 12, everything that's in the 18 is also in that single barrel. It's just in different, ratios or whatever of the flavor. So you go putting this bad boy in a cocktail, I'm hoping that the flavors maybe that we didn't feel were rounded out well enough would show up respectively in the cocktail.
This bottle, I think, I've been thinking about this for a while now and have not landed on anything, but this bottle may be a great candidate for, those little finishing barrels that you see people get?
Yeah.
Some are ex-honey barrels, some are, you can put whatever in there and then, but it's a way to do a secondary finishing of a bottle of something. That would be a great candidate to experiment with a small little barrel to finish your own.
Yeah.
Do a finishing on that one.
Yeah.
It might round everything up, 6 to 8 months.
It'd be cool if we could get some. It'd be cool if we could get a little barrel that was like French oak.
Oh yeah.
Because we had a lot of great things to say about that Maker's Mark French oak. That number 46.
Number 46.
Whether it was the regular release or the single barrel release, we had a lot of good things to say about that. Which really surprised the shit out of me, because me and Maker's Mark, we don't really get along.
Yep.
It's just it's awful. It's a cool bottle, but it just tastes bad. It's just it's char. It's the sour mash went too far sour, and it was like ugh. But anyway, so that's Maker's Mark. This is Knob Creek.
Knob Creek.
This is a Jim Beam family member. And we had a great time.
Wild Turkey's down the street.
Wild Turkey's right down the street.
Like 2 miles down the road.
And nobody likes the OG release of that, but the 101, people swear by it, and we liked it. The rare breed.
I can't wait for us to get into this store.
We had a great time with the rare breed. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a store pick.
This year's or the 2024 cast strength.
There's a lot more wax on that one. Do they call that a dunk? What do they call that when you get a lot more wax on it?
A pain in the ass.
A pain in the ass. If you think sex is a pain in the ass, turn over.
Hey-o.
Hey, family show. That 18 just pinched me on the nose a little bit there. Well, if you like this episode, please share it with your fellow whiskey enthusiasts. If you have your own opinion on what Knob Creek has to offer, and if you think we're wrong, or you think we're very much right, send us an email, Jonathan or W2 at savortheburn.com. Look for these bottles in the liquor cabinet at savortheburn.com. You can click the drop-down menu and it goes right to the liquor cabinet. And actually, these bottles will show up in the featured distilleries towards the bottom of that list.
Because Jim Beam is a featured distiller.
It is, along with a select few others.
That's three more bottles.
3 more bottles
to go in that category. Or go to the bourbon category and do a little bit of hunt. Everything in the liquor cabinet is sorted by rating.
Yep.
We don't have ratings actually on them in the liquor cabinet. If you go over to the About tab, we have our top 10, I believe, over there, and we do have the ratings listed there. If you click on the individuals and look at the individual detail page, their ratings are on there.
They'll be on there for sure.
But the main overview pages on the liquor cabinet, I just left the ratings off of there, but they are sorted by rating. So the winners are at the top, and well, that Navigator, it's not at the top.
It is not at
Chandler,
the top.
what do you think about that Navigator?
Let us know. If you've had Navigator, what is it, bourbon? Is it whiskey? What was that?
I
think it's a bourbon.
It's a bourbon finished in
Like a wine cask?
Cabernet red wine cask.
Red wine?
Yeah. Or Merlot cask.
Merlot. Some people say Merlot. Some people say Merlot. So thank you for listening in on your podcast app of choice. We're glad that you came along with us and checked us out. If you're a fan of Knob Creek, or if you have somebody that's looking to get into some of the Knob Creek
subscribe.
Offerings,
leave us a comment.
Leave us a comment, hit subscribe, and click that bell notification to follow along on all things Savor the Burn. So really, look at all these glasses. So really, no matter who you are and where you are and what you're drinking and who you're drinking it with, never forget, keep on burning.